Hi, everybody.
Friends, how are you guys? We're gonna let our friends trickle in. Looks like a bunch of you are just coming in. We're so excited to see you. I'm Miss Deneen. I'm from Kid Made Modern. Tessa from Studio Jane is here. We're so excited to craft today. Looks like everyone's making their way in. As you start to come in, feel free to tell us where you're from. If you're excited to craft, let us know some of your favorite art supplies. We want to hear about it. Um, just a few reminders before we get going. We can't see or hear you, but I'm here to answer questions or to let Miss Tessa know if you have questions as well. Before we get going too, oh, look, we have a friend, Genevieve. She's so here. She's so happy to be here. She's from Pensacola, Florida. Genevieve, we're so happy to have you here. Let's see. You know what? Nope, the chat's not disabled. We can still hear you, or we can still see your questions. Um, if you don't have pipe cleaners, yeah, you could use anything similar to pipe cleaners, like straws, um,
You could even use yarn.
yarn. Yeah.
Yeah, yarn would work. Strips of paper.
Yep, super cool questions coming in. The craft that we're going to do, I'm going to give you a little hint. It's amazing. So keep that in your mind before we get going. Tessa, I think we're ready to start.
Okay, great. All right. Thanks so much for joining us today, you guys. I'm so excited to be crafting with you. We are only a couple days away from Valentine's Day, so we are going to be making these fun heart mazes. These are an actual functioning maze that you can put a marble through here and you can play with it as a game, or you can make them in all different sizes to gift them for Valentine's Day, and show them the way to your heart. So there's all sorts of fun things to do with this. So I'm excited to make this fun heart maze with you guys. There's not a lot of supplies for this craft today. You just need some sort of paper. So I'm just going to be using like some construction paper here, cardstock. You can also use cardboard or a paper plate, and you can make it in any size that you want. So this is cut out of a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. But again, you can really make it any size. So if you want to use a smaller piece of paper or a paper plate and cut your heart out, anything like that will work. And then aside from paper, we are using fuzzy sticks. So fuzzy sticks or pipe cleaners, these are all colors and styles from our Kid Made Modern Arts and Crafts library. So I picked a selection of pinks and reds. Some of them are glittery, just for Valentine's Day, but you can use any colors that you might want. And if you don't have these specific styles, that's fine. Any fuzzy sticks will work. Or as we started talking about when we first jumped on, if you don't have fuzzy sticks today, you can definitely use straws, either plastic or paper straws. You can use yarn. We are going to be bending the fuzzy sticks, so that's what makes it really easy since they have wire in them. You can easily bend them, but you can even cut strips of paper. So you can do a lot of different things to make it look similar, even though it might not bend the exact same way. They don't have to look exactly like this. That's what makes it fun. And then aside from fuzzy sticks and paper, we are using a hot glue gun today. You can use a low temp glue gun, or if you are not crafting with an adult, or if you aren't comfortable with the glue guns, then you can use glue dots. So we'll be using a glue gun as we show you what to do, but where we put glue down, you could just put glue dots instead. And then you're just going to need a pair of scissors to cut our fuzzy sticks, and cut out our heart, as well as a pencil or a pen to trace our maze. And then if you want to write any cute little notes, or we wrote like start and finish on our maze, so a pen or a color pencil, anything like that. And I think that's pretty much everything you need. So it's not a lot of supplies, but it makes a big impact. So again, you can make this any size and any colors you want. So if you don't have these exact sizes or colors, that's fine. We're excited to see what colors you guys make. We always love when you tell us in the Q&A, let Miss Deneen know what colors you guys are making yours today. So we are going to go ahead and get started.
Hey, Ms. Tessa, before we start, we just have a question. Looks like the Nussbaum family wants to know if they could use regular Elmer's glue.
Yeah, absolutely. You can use regular Elmer's glue as well. Fuzzy sticks or pipe cleaners, oftentimes they take longer to dry with Elmer's glue. So you can do that. I just recommend that once you do it, just set it and leave it for quite a while to make sure that the glue dries. With fuzzy sticks or pom-poms, because they have like fiber on them, they like saturate all the glue. So it just takes a little longer to dry, but that will definitely work as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Ms. Tessa. And you know what? Grace is here. She's 4. She's excited to craft.
Oh, good. Welcome, Grace.
Yeah, and Brianna's here. She just turned 5 and she's from Indiana, excited to be here as well.
Well, happy birthday. I'm glad you just turned 5 and you're here to join us. All right, guys, went ahead and switch my camera around here so we can get started. And so in our sample maze here, it is on like a blue paper. I have some different purples, black. You can do any color. I'm just gonna do this light lavender today. And I'm just going to draw a heart. So the fun thing about making your own maze is it can be any size or style that you want. So you really can't go wrong here. Your heart can be as big as you want. It can be really rounded heart, or maybe one side of the heart is really tall and one is shorter. You can customize it any way you want. And I'm just using a thick black marker here so you guys can see my lines, but you can definitely draw your heart with a pencil or a crayon, or just freehand cut it out as well. So to draw a heart, I'm just going to start in the middle and draw a big curve down to a point, and then do a similar shape on the other side. So that's what my heart looks like. Again, you can make them any size or shape you want. Maybe you want to do a bigger one or skinny, a little more abstract of a heart. You can draw one like that. So there's a ton of different styles of hearts that you could make, and any of those will be adorable. Okay, so once you draw your heart, then we're just going to take our scissors and cut it out. And if you are using a thick paper, it might take a little longer to cut out, or if you're using cardboard or a paper plate. If your paper is thinner, like just this kind of construction craft paper, it's not too hard. But just take your time and cut along your line. You can always flip your heart over. So that's what I'm going to do with mine, since I use this dark outline. I'm just going to flip it over afterward, and then you won't see that line. Or if you used a pencil, you can always erase your pencil marks afterward. All right. So there's my heart. You can see I still have these dark lines here. So when I flip it over, all of that outline has disappeared, which is an easy way to get rid of your outlines. If it's something that doesn't matter which way it goes, then you can easily just flip it over anytime. Okay, so our next step is going to be actually drawing our maze. So I'm going to use a pencil for this portion, and I do recommend a pencil so that you can erase any lines. We're going to be covering our lines with our pipe cleaners, but if you change your mind a little bit, it's going to be easier to erase your pencil lines after the fact. So to draw your maze, you want to pick a starting point. And since we want ours to go in the same style as our heart, I'm going to start at my point here and start drawing a line along the outside. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to go exactly a certain dimension. So I'm just drawing around the border here first. And then as you come down the other direction, I'm going to stop before I get to my starting point. So now I have about an inch or so, enough space that a marble could roll through that. And then I'll start my second line from there. So you can see here's where my starting point would be on my maze. And so this is where the first pipe cleaner is going to go. And then we'll start our second one here to create a little alleyway for a marble to go. If you want to play with it as a game, you don't have to. It can also just be a cute thing. So you could even draw your own maze and color it and decorate it. If you don't want it to function for a marble or anything to roll down, that's fine too. All right, and we're just gonna basically draw layers here around our heart. And then every time you come back around, right before your lines are going to meet and touch, you're going to stop about an inch or so in and then go up again instead. So it's basically a heart-shaped swirl. And then we'll add in a couple different areas with our fuzzy sticks, like things like this that make it harder, or little gaps that your marble could roll into. And so that's why a pencil's easy. That way, when we decide to do that, we'll just cut our fuzzy sticks as we go, leave a gap, and then we can erase that pencil mark after. All right. And you can make this as tiny as you want or as big as you want. And then at the end, I'm just going to leave a little mark here that basically your marble could roll around and then could end up in this little center area. And some of these areas look like it's a little bit tight. So as we glue our fuzzy sticks down, we'll just keep that in mind that maybe we want to create a little gap there. You just want it to be fairly even so that you can fit a marble through it.
Hi, Ms. Tessa. You know what, I just want to interrupt, and I apologize. I wanted to let all our viewers know that this is being recorded. So if you did come in a little late, or perhaps that you're still cutting, this is being recorded. So you will get an opportunity to watch this again in 24 hours. It's going to be posted on michaels.com/classes, as well as Michaels. They have a YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch it there as well.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, all this will be online after the fact. And yeah, if you're just jumping in or catching up, we just cut out our heart. You can use any paper or cardboard or paper plate to draw a heart. And then we are just drawing basically a maze version, but it's kind of like just a swirl. So in the shape of a heart. So you want to start a starting point and then just get smaller and smaller into the center of your heart. All right. So to go ahead and start gluing, again, we're using a hot glue gun. If you're crafting with an adult today, or you are an experienced crafter and you feel comfortable with the glue gun and your parent has said that that's okay to use. Otherwise, you can use glue dots as well, or you can use an Elmer's glue. Just make sure once you set your pipe cleaners down that you just kind of set it and forget it. Make sure to let it fully dry. Okay, so to glue these down, we're just going to follow the line we drew with our fuzzy stick. So as you go around, you can curve it, and it's easy to curve it when you have glue so that it kind of sticks and holds into that position. So I'm just going to take my glue gun here. You can also use a low temp glue gun. That will definitely work. And that way you have less concern about burns. It is still hot though, so you want to make sure that you take some time to learn how to use that appropriately. But I just drew a line of glue here, and then I'm just going to lay my fuzzy stick right on top. And if your glue, like mine did since I was talking, starts to dry, just lay a little bit more right on top of it. And then you're just gonna lay your fuzzy stick directly on top of your glue line. And if you don't need a lot because it's a thin piece of material. So just a thin layer, and then you just barely tap it into it and it catches. So you don't have to worry about glue squishing out, anything like that. So then as you can see, as we go along the top here, before I glue down this little end, I'm just kind of bending it to curve around to the same size as my heart. And then I'm just putting a little bit down and pressing that into the glue. And now you can switch from different colors as often as you want. If you want to do each layer, each section is a color. If you want to go back and forth, any direction you want to go is totally fine. I'm going to do the same color around the first layer. And what's fun about that and with fuzzy sticks is since they really don't have any defining detail on the ends, when you put them next to one another and they're the same color, you can't even tell that you had to add another one.
So Tessa, we have a friend asking if they don't have fuzzy sticks, we were talking about things they can substitute in place of them. What would you recommend?
Yeah, I think if you don't have fuzzy sticks, you can definitely do yarn, and you can glue your yarn in the same way. You can do layers of yarn if you want it to be the same height, but that way you can cut and do any colors of yarn you want. You can even do straws. So even at the curves with straws, you can just cut them into smaller segments and curve them as you go. Strips of paper, you can do rolled paper strips. So I think there's a lot of options you can use. And even the other thing is you can draw your maze. And if you don't want to do continuous lines like this, you could easily glue little pom-poms or googly eyes all the way around and make your maze that way as well.
Oh, I love the googly eye idea. That's fun. And you know, it looks like Caroline wanted to share she turned 6 and she loves doing crafts with you, Tessa.
Oh, well, thank you for coming to craft with us again. I'm so excited that you're here. Okay, so at the top here of our heart, I just bent it a little bit as you go. So with your fuzzy sticks, if you're using fuzzy sticks, they're pretty easy. You can just take it and bend it into the little heart shape there. So you don't have to cut it, you can just bend it as you go. And then same thing as we continue gluing down, I'm just going to bend my fuzzy stick and lay it right in the glue as I bend it so that it holds that shape. And then on the end here, let's do the same. And then I'm going to take a third fuzzy stick and we're just going to keep gluing. So when you get into the middle of our maze, you can really cut different segments out to make it harder than others or more intricate or interesting, like we did with this little gaps that your marble could fall into, or little barriers you have to go around. We're going to go through how to do all of that, but you can do that as many different ways as you want. But I do recommend that you have one starting point. So you don't want to have any gaps necessarily outside so that you can get going when you start playing with it. So we're almost done with our first layer here. I'm going to come down to the end. And then I'm going to switch colors at this point. And that's just because I think it's cute to have another layer of color. You could easily bend your fuzzy stick, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut it right where it's at. And if you're using a glue gun today, always remember to pull away any of those glue strings when your glue dries. And so I'm going to switch and start using a red fuzzy stick. And again, these are just colors that I thought were fun for Valentine's Day, but you can really use any colors you want. If you're making this as a gift for someone, you might want to use their favorite colors instead, or your favorite colors if it's a gift for yourself. So again, I'm just taking my glue and then just going to start layering this second row in. And as you come to the top, just kind of curve it a little bit to make sure where you want it to go. And I think I drew my maze a little tight, so I'm going to bring it down a little bit. You can see here where my line was versus where I'm moving it so that there's enough space for a marble to come in. So I think when you draw your shape, your maze, what's nice about instead of worrying about putting in too many obstacles yet, is just to kind of give you an outline and a starting place. And then we can kind of change it up as you go. Obviously the fuzzy sticks or whatever materials you may be using are going to be bigger than your pencil line. So that's going to look a little different as well. And then we'll just go back at the end to finish it up and remove any pencil lines, anything like that. Or you can always color in afterward. Maybe you traced yours with markers and it's full of color instead. And you can always doodle all along the inside of your maze. So you can really make it any style you want. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little more glue. And when you switch to a new fuzzy stick, I just line them up. And then it's hard to even tell when you switched. And then I glued down to my point here of my heart. And then I'm just going to curve my fuzzy stick and then put some more glue down. All right, so I'm just going to continue gluing this second layer in. And again, you can make this any size you want. So it'd also be cute to make small versions of these. And even if they're not super functional maze, you can tell people how amazing they are for Valentine's Day. So you can make this in small versions to share with your friends or your family.
Tessa, I was thinking the same thing. Like, what a perfect Valentine's Day gift to give to someone in writing. You know, you are amazing on the back, and giving it to someone as like a Valentine, right?
Yes, I love that idea. And that's what's fun then, since it is made out of paper, whether you're using cardboard or just construction paper or anything, you can easily flip it back over to write a cute message on it. Or maybe you want to write a cute message all the way around on the inside of your maze. So you can totally make it your own in a ton of different ways.
We do have a friend that just asked if we could slow down just a tad.
Sure.
And we have another friend, her name is Worthy, and she loves doing crafts with Michael. She thinks it's so fun and wanted to share that with you.
Oh, I love hearing that. And I love that you guys are loving taking all these classes. We were talking about how much has changed. And I don't know how many of you guys who have joined us now used to take classes in person at Michael's. But it's fun that we can put so many of us now in one room at the same time to talk and share and craft together. So I'm really glad that you guys are taking classes still online. It's exciting. Okay, so as I go around here, we have a couple rows now done. You can start to see here where our entry is and how you're creating that maze shape here. And then going to take a glittery one, and these glittery fuzzy sticks are from the Kid Made Modern Arts and Crafts Library. Same with the full color ones, but these are more the traditional size of a fuzzy stick or a pipe cleaner. They're about 1 foot long. These ones come in shorter sizes as well. So these are pre-cut to this size, but you can cut them any size you want. As you see, we're cutting them and layering them together as we glue them down. Okay, so I'm going to look here and make sure that my line I drew still is okay for it to be there, so we have enough space, which looks pretty good. So I'm going to just take my glue again and just run a thin line of glue, lining up my fuzzy sticks together at the end point, and then just pressing it lightly into the glue. So now we're starting another another layer of our maze. And then I think it's fun to put in some obstacles. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you want to make it just basically a swirled heart shape instead, you can easily just continue it all the way around. But I'm going to put a little gap in this because I think it's fun. So I'm just going to, where this layer of pipe cleaner ends, I'm just going to leave a little gap where a marble could fall into. So I'm going to glue that down a little bit. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down first. So then you can see here, I just left a gap. So as I went this one up, I left about 1 inch or so, maybe like a finger or 2 fingers worth of space. You can make your gap any size you want. And that way, as you're playing the maze, if you tilted it wrong, your marble could fall in, or maybe it's a faster way. So you can kind of play with that. And then I'm just going to take my fuzzy stick and curve it at the top here before I put glue down. And as you can see, I have a line here that I'm not really following. I drew this swirled heart shape just as an outline to make sure that I have an outline to follow, but it doesn't have to be exact. So if I followed that, it would be pretty tight for a marble to fit in. So I drew it a little bit too tight, so you can just bring it down a little bit. Now that we have these outer fuzzy stick hearts, we can kind of follow that as our new outline, and then we'll just go back and erase any pencil marks after. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on my curved portion here. Lightly press in. And again, if you're using glue dots, then you could just easily put a glue dot in a couple places as you curve your fuzzy sticks. Or if you're using Elmer's glue or just like white craft glue, then you would just do a similar thing, just draw a small thin line of glue and press your fuzzy stick into it. And then just know it's going to take a little longer to dry till your maze might be ready to play with. All right, so I'm going to switch colors again to a different fuzzy stick. And since this one, instead of bending it, since I'm switching colors here, I'm just going to line them up to make sure that my little heart point still is lined up. See there that they line up. And again, my original lines, we're not going to stress about those having to line up perfectly. So we just want to make sure that we're keeping similar space in between as we layer in the fuzzy sticks. All right. And then I'm just going to draw a little line here of glue. And we're going to keep going with this. Just again, gluing a little line or putting down a couple glue dots as we go and layering our fuzzy sticks right on top. And when I get to the point here, I'm going to go ahead and trim that off so that then I can add in a new color. We'll add in another red layer.
It looks like we have a friend that switched to yarn because some of her pipe cleaners kept on popping off. And they used Elmer's glue. Caroline is her name, and she finished hers all by herself, and it looks great. She wanted to share that with you.
Oh my gosh! Well, great job, Caroline. Yeah. I definitely tell mom or dad if you guys can share this on any of our social media. We love seeing all of your guys' finished products.
Yeah, we want to see your amazing products. So here's the deal. You can share these on social media. We have a few hashtags. Michael's is hashtag make it with Michael's. They also have hashtag Michael's classes And then Kid Made Modern has the hashtag Go Make Stuff. So if you can share these on social media, any photos of your product, we love seeing them, you guys. It makes our creative hearts so happy. It looks like Huda says this project was so much fun. Sakina, she absolutely loves this activity. Grace finished and she wanted to show you, she made a Valentine for her neighbor, Sammy. Amelia says hi. And Huda, Huda also finished and she used pipe cleaners and glue. So a lot of great stuff
are
here.
so fast. You are crafting rock stars, clearly, which is so fun. I love hearing how much fun you guys are having. I'm having fun crafting with you. So I'm really glad that we get to do this together. All right, so I went ahead and added another little gap there, and then I'm just going to add a couple more on here. And I love that you guys are switching around your products or your materials. Yeah, I switched to yarn. I think that's a good thing, a great reminder, Caroline, that if your craft materials aren't working, if you're struggling, crafting is fun and you can explore all different types of materials. So if it's not working, then ditch it and try something else, and feel free to experiment with different materials. I think that's what makes crafting so fun, is that there's no wrong answer, which means there's not one correct way to do it. So you can just have fun and make it any style you want. All right, I'm just gonna finish up this here. So then you can see basically our end of our little center of our heart. You would roll your marble into this portion as our end. We added a couple of gaps in if you wanted to. I also think what's fun is you can add in a little obstacle or something that you might have to move around a little bit. So you can just take a fuzzy stick, cut it down to a smaller little piece like this. And then I'm just going to add anywhere that my heart maybe is a little bit bigger, I can add a little teeny bit of a fuzzy stick it could block my marble. You can do that in multiple spots if you wanted to. And you can really make it as hard as you want or as easy as you want. And then I saw this little edge here sticking up, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue there. So as you can see, we've got our maze pretty much finished here. I'm going to go back with my pencil now and erase any of my pencil marks. So you can do this if your pencil marks are showing, or again, you can doodle or draw, maybe paint a fun design in between your fuzzy sticks or your yarn that you used. Or if you want to write a cute message. But I'm just going to go ahead and erase these real quick. And then the last step is if you want to write a start and finish on your start and finish lines, like we did here in our sample one. We just wrote a little start and finish, or maybe you want to write your name, as this is the way to get to the center of your heart. You can, again, write a to and from, or Happy Valentine's Day in the middle of any of this. And I'm just going to shake off all my eraser bits here. And then I'm just going to take a marker. And at the start here, I'm going to write start. And I just used a black marker, but you can use obviously any sort of writing utensil you might have, a colored pencil or a crayon. And then since this is where I want to end mine, you can write a little finish here. I'm going to draw a little tiny heart as well. So you can see that there. So you can really then add anything else you might want. If you want to add additional messages or drawings and doodles in there. That would be adorable. You can make it, again, any size you guys might want to. I don't know if anyone made it much bigger or much smaller. We definitely always want to know. Or easily flip it over and you can write a sweet message. You could have a big working space where you could write to my Valentine. Love. And you could put your name on the back. And then you have either a fun craft for yourself or a game for you to play with or a cute gift to share with everyone on Valentine's Day, which is just a couple days away. So that's our Valentine maze. And I'm so glad that you guys made it with us today.
Yeah, Tessa, what a great craft. What an amazing craft. I loved it so much. And again, friends, please share your photos. Please share your finished products with us. We love seeing them. Hashtag make it with Michaels, hashtag Michaels classes, hashtag go make stuff. We also have a really exciting craft coming up for Pi Day. So 3/14, March 14th, join us. Tessa from Studio Jane, Kid Made Modern, and Michaels will all be here ready to craft with you. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you have a wonderful, love-filled Valentine's Day, and I hope it is also amazing.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today, you guys. And we love crafting with you. You are amazing. And looking forward to crafting with you guys on Pi Day in a couple of weeks. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.